Coordination requires trust, and trust in organizations is built slowly and it's destroyed quickly. It's like human Jenga. You can spend months stacking collaboration, aligning teams, balancing budgets, and then one careless tug, one ego, one budget freeze, and the whole tower comes tumbling down. And that's what is happening inside a lot of companies that are trying to do advanced marketing measurement. The problem isn't access to the data, it's that the tower of trust can't hold the weight of that coordination. And I was thinking about this because of something that Rick said in a comment to one of my LinkedIn posts, where the problem isn't the analytics. It's not the problem, is not the analytics capability. That's not the bottleneck. The bottleneck is the maturity to orchestrate and coordinate across the digital team. And then I went back and thinking about these human issues and just how the data readiness stuff that I'm posting and going to continue to post is important. This is how you get there. But at the same time, the problem isn't necessarily that data. The problem is that maturity bottleneck isn't necessarily going to be overcome with 2 or 3 primary business questions. So if the problem is that maturity to orchestrate and coordinate across the digital team, that maturity it's human, it's cultural, it's emotional, and it's about trust. And how do we get there? So let's look at this. Let's look at our Jenga tower. Where does coordination break down? So one level of breakdown is psychological safety. People are afraid to be wrong, so they protect their data instead of sharing it. Their analytics become a defense. It's not about discovery, it's defense. So you're going to have organizations where their analytics, their reporting, it's defensive. They're not looking necessarily to say, how do we do this better? They're looking to prove themselves and wall themselves off from others. And they might even protect their data from sharing their data to that. I've seen companies get more than one license for Google Analytics 360 because they don't want to have people within the same company having access to the data that they care about. And so they've had 2 different licenses on the same company. Didn't need to. They could have completely shared that license, but they, at the time, were willing to spend $150,000 extra a year in order to not share their data with another part of their org internally. It happens. I wouldn't want to work there, but it happens. Second layer is power and incentives. So finance is always going to chase, maybe not always, but generally they're going to chase efficiency. They're going to chase margin or revenue, but they're chasing operational efficiency. Marketing is chasing growth, not necessarily operational efficiency. Data teams are choosing accuracy. They want good data. They're chasing accurate data to make decisions with. Nobody is chasing alignment across all these pieces. And then because of that, the metrics that people are weighing, those start becoming weapons instead of instruments. Layer 3 would be coordination gaps. There's no orchestration layer. You have overlapping tests. You have conflicting dashboards with different information on them, different data entirely. Oh, we see that this revenue is coming in from here, and they say 50,000 here, 50,000 there, 60,000 total revenue. No one trusts each other. Those are coordination gaps. They can be. Everyone says we did this, but no one agrees what to do next. Coordination gaps. Another layer 4 would be trust fragility. There's, a single reorg or a political flare-up, and the whole measurement tower collapses. You get a new VP, suddenly they have a new person, a new agency, a new tool they want to work with, and you back to the same dysfunction. Everything changes right off the bat. Every time the tower falls, people blame the tool, they might blame a person, but they're not blaming those tremors of distrust that are underneath everything. So if you're a data or a marketing leader in a bureaucratic company and you're waiting for permission, that's never going to fix it. You're not running just a data or analytics function. You need to be leading, and think of it as leading an insurgency of clarity inside an empire of confusion, right? So you need to turn your mindset from a bureaucratic mindset to a revolutionary mindset. So what does that mean for this, right? We're not talking about actual revolution. We're talking about a measurement insurgency. So what does that mean? So a bureaucrat, you would wait for buy-in. The revolutionary is going to build momentum through proof. The bureaucrat is going to ask for funding, put together a budget plan and ask for funding. The revolutionary is going to start by getting allies. The bureaucrat, they're going to speak in jargon, and the revolutionary is going to tell human stories that affect people. The bureaucrat is going to defend the process or lack thereof, but call it process. the revolutionary is going to experiment and act in the shadows. So you do not overthrow your bureaucracy. You outgrow it cell by cell. So what should be the principles of your measurement insurgency? So here's 10, because it's a nice decimal number. Here's 10 principles that you need to adopt for your measurement insurgency. So number one, you need to operate asymmetrically. So this is very common for insurgents. You, the bureaucratic company around you, they are going to win with size and inertia. As an insurgent, you are going to win with speed and focus. So what does that mean? That looks like running quick micro campaigns, doing things where your one little test could beat out 10 disconnected reports. Every little win you do, whatever that looks like, that can become propaganda for your cause. If you were able to do one little thing and show one big benefit that's better from all the other garbage, that's propaganda that you can use going down the road. Your power is not your authority. Your power is your initiative for you to do things and to do it and understand that you are going to operate out of these things asymmetrically at a small scale against that big giant. Second thing you need to do, you need to form measurement cells, right? So an insurgent cell, your measurement insurgency cell, who is this? So you need to get allies. You need to have at least 2 to 5 cross-functional allies. Someone on the data and analytics team, someone in finance, someone in marketing, someone in ops. You need to find these people, find people who are frustrated with how your organization is using your data, who want to have a change. And then you get them to understand that you're on their side and that you want to work together to make that happen. And together you form this measurement cell. Maybe it's one or two people over here, one or two people over there. But if you had one person on the data team, one person in marketing, one person on finance, one person in ops, if you have these people, that's your cell. That's your starting cell. These are people who are committed to making a change. And your mission for your cell is to advance truth, to coordinate between each other on how you're going to work on data and build that trust. And if one cell falters, they get fired or they are too busy, whatever else, others can still survive, right? So you build multiple cells existing within the org, and they're resilient, they're decentralized, and if you do it right, it becomes unstoppable. But what does that actually mean? How does that work? We're going to talk about it. But basically, you need to form cells, form allies, and get them on the same page. How do you do that? Well, one thing you should do is, number 3, is write your manifesto, okay? Every revolution needs words. And so draft a 1-page measurement manifesto. Write, what do you believe? What do you want to fight against? What do you want to get rid of from the organization? What does success look like for your team in the organization? And you need truth over politics. You need learning over someone's vanity. You're going to put this vision together of, if we were a healthy, functional organization, how would we use data? Write it up, keep it simple, tell the story, and then share it quietly. You might not even want to put this on your company's like knowledge base or drive. You might not even want to email it to someone. Maybe you make a PDF. You keep it local. Maybe you email the PDF to people, but you let people know that this is not official. This is not an official document. This is not company policy. This is you wanting to make a change within the org. And this is your thoughts, your personal, unofficial thoughts that you are sharing off the record with people that you trust. Unofficial ideas, especially in bureaucratic environments, are going to spread faster than official ones. And so you want to have that kind of play up, and your manifesto is about helping the company. How am I going to help the company? How are we going to drive value here? But you're underneath that level of bureaucracy. How do you get it? There's people, those are humans, that bureaucracy. And this is how you get around them. So have that manifesto. The 4th thing would be know when to go underground. When approval stalls, you need to be quiet. You need to act quietly. You can run a test. You can get the data, you can show the result. You can do things in the background, but you might need to be doing it quietly, and you need to know when to go underground. And so one thing that people get said here is, don't ask for forgiveness, or don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness, and kind of have that in mind, where if you are going out saying, I think we could get value out of these tests. Can I do it? I think we could use this tool. Can we get budget for it? In a A lot of organizations, that answer is going to be no, or maybe you get the budget, but you're not coordinating with someone else because there's no coordination across teams. Someone else is doing something else and it's just chaos, right? So do your stuff, but ask for forgiveness, not for permission. Do little things, do your tests, place your bets. And when it works, you can present it. And leadership, hopefully, will retroactively claim, look at how good our team did. Look how good I did because of my team. And that's good. You're winning over those leadership into your adoption. So next thing I would say, number 5 would be to control the narrative. Every revolution is an information war. You need to tell stories in business language, not analytics jargon. So again, you want to say, we improved spend efficiently by 8%, not some thing about coefficients or something that was the whatever Shapley model. I've seen data scientists speak in that language and completely lose the audience of the C-level, of the business, of the strategists. If you want to successfully form an insurgency here and change your org from within and make it more mature, you have to control that narrative, and you do that through business language and storytelling, not analytics jargon and tech, okay? The stories are going to spread faster than some tool or some dashboard. 6, build parallel structures. So one of the recommendations I wrote about in the past is having a measurement council, having a council of people that are responsible for your data and your measurement across the different lines, like the marketing, the finance, and so on and so forth. If no measurement council exists, which likely it doesn't, act like one. You don't need to ask permission to form a measurement council. You find allies of people in different parts of the company that want to make a change, and then you form your own council. You don't tell anyone about it. You don't publicize about it. You do everything you need to do. You meet monthly, you keep notes, you document your decisions. You just start acting like this exists without telling leadership about it. And when leadership eventually says, or whether they directly say, we need a measurement council, or they say, we need a group of people to help coordinate this stuff, you can say, oh, we already have that. Build that structure before it's sanctioned. Have it there, have it going, do what you can to leverage it, and start doing it. And then eventually, suddenly you are that council and it's recognized. Number 7, use symbolic wins. So it's kind of like, if this was an insurgency, you capture a village, you inspire the entire province. So maybe it's a joint campaign. You have someone on the finance side and someone in marketing, or someone on product and marketing, whatever it is, you work together, you do something jointly that aligns, and then you show success of that publicly. So find someone in a different part of the org, again, an ally who's part of the insurgency, who you can work together, and you guys can leverage that to show this connection. And that symbolic victory, that's going to convert a skeptic towards this orchestration. It's going to convert a skeptic faster than presentations ever are going to. Number 8, you want to balance your passion with your patience. So revolution, they burn out when zeal outruns your stamina. When you're just, you need to balance that passion with a little bit of patience, okay? Celebrate your micro wins, protect your allies. Progress is a rhythm, not an explosion. Don't expect change overnight. Progress, slow, methodical. You make the changes, you keep on going, you pace yourself, and you'll get there. Number 9, recruit through resonance. So don't force people to join your movement. Don't force people to become an insurgent. You can't do that. You invite them. You want to find the frustrated. Find people that are frustrated with their ability to do their jobs, with their ability to use their data, with the frustration with whatever systems are in place. You can do this by talking to people, reach out to people, ask about their problems. And you'd be surprised how many times in these organizations you have a vast majority of people who hate everything that you hate and wish everything could be changed the way you could change it. And you can have that conversation, get those allies. You use your words, give them language, give them purpose, give them your manifesto. The movement grows by that resonance, not by any authority, not by someone coming down and saying, you need to join this. You need to join the measurement council. You need to blah, 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 blah. Let that story, let your manifesto, have that conversation, talk to people, find out their problems, talk to them about how you share their frustrations and what you're doing about it, and they will volunteer to help. They will volunteer to join you, and you'll get your allies. So lastly, you want to institutionalize the revolutions. Once you're able to do all these things and you shift the culture enough, you want to codify it. So these cells, like I said, suddenly they do the same thing because they've been acting like it. And now it's the measurement council and that policy. And you can guard that spirit so the bureaucracy won't recalcify into the work. And then you won the peace, not just the war. So that's the last part of it, right? So now that your insurgency is alive, you map the train, you can do all these things that you haven't done for data readiness up to this point. And again, you should be doing some of these things as part of it, but who controls access? Who fears transparency? Who has influence without a title? You want to draw your measurement power map. You want to figure out who has power for data and measurement, and you want to find your allies and you nurture them. You want to find people who are neutral and you want to educate them. And then you want to find people who are blockers and you got to figure out how to reframe those blockers or bypass them entirely. You cannot fix the problems in your organization that you don't understand, and you can't navigate if you don't have that map. Now, one thing you could be saying to this is like, that's not my job, in which case enjoy not doing anything, enjoy not pushing into the future, enjoy probably losing your job at some point. If you are a data leader and you are in an organization that you are frustrated with about how it's using data, it is your job to do this. It is your job to push for using it right. And if the bureaucracy is the problem, the insurgency is the answer. Once you've built that trust, then you can scale it. Then you can, you can build the republic after the revolution, and you can do all the things. You can do creating the shared languages and schemas and establishing the ownership and the councils and building the right cadence and balancing AI and automation with humans and budget into learning and investment and having that loop close between insight, action, feedback, and have that going. That's when you really start kicking in, but then your insurgency is won and you're in charge of the government now. So you can't automate trust. You can't buy orchestration, but you can lead it person by person, cell by cell. The analytics revolution will not be televised. Is that a hook? It'll happen in quiet rooms. It's going to happen in shared dashboards. It's going to happen in whispered Slack threads. It's going to happen in those rare meetings where people finally agree on something. You need to be the rebel who builds the scaffolding that your data deserves. You are the real revolution in measurement, and that's not technical. It's human. So close out, I would say, if that resonated with you, that you want to be a rebel leader for your measurement insurgency, time to go find your first ally and build your first cell. Good luck.